Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. On today's episode, gotta react to the Jaylen Johnson franchise tag. Is this the right move for the Chicago Bears? Is this what we want to see Chicago Bears end up doing? And is this going to be the right thing long term for the Bears moving forward? Are we going to get a deal worked out? That's the real question. Got to react to the Ryan Bates trade yesterday as well. An interesting trade that I think, this team as a whole, when you start to trade fifth round pieces for depth here, a little concerning there. And then Bears only got 5 picks left. What are they going to do with those 5 picks? And is that enough? And we'll welcome in our resident host of the Chicago Bears Breeze onto the show as well. Oh, he's behind the hey, there he is. Jordan JC joining the show as well. Jordan, what's
up?
Good?
What's going on, fella? How you feeling, man?
Hey man, we in the building, dog. We in the building. We got a lot of movement around the Bears over the last couple of days, so you can't go wrong with that.
No, can't go wrong with it, man. A lot of good names, stuff getting done a little bit.
A little bit. When I saw trade come across yesterday, I didn't expect to be giving away draft capital yesterday. But hey, man, it is what it is. I'm not mad at it. But let's start it off with the story of the day. Got to talk about the Jaylen Johnson signing. The Chicago Bears end up franchise tagging Jaylen Johnson. Gonna be about $19.8 million. And the question is, will the tag lead to a long-term deal? Because this could be a move to just give you 4.5 more months to work something out. The deadline to get a deal done for the team would be July 15th. Or is this a move that is you go out there and we'll let you play it out on a prove-it-year deal, and then we'll give you the long-term contract?
It could be both ways, man, because I think that, we talked about, the top cornerbacks in the league, Jair Alexander. After he got his contract, his play went down. Yeah. And so, Ryan Poles is a tactician with this. He's a master at what he's doing. I think that he wants to wait out maybe another season to see if Jaylen Johnson can kind of mirror what he was doing this year. And if he does to a certain extent, get the takeaways again, play lockdown defender coverage, all of that, then yeah, he's deserving of a contract that's probably going to put him in the top, cornerbacks being paid. If 19.8 is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, come on,
good money.
Pretty much got $20 million a year. That's up there. So I think they're going in the right direction. You heard Ryan Poles already mentioned that, in the discussions they were having, it was going pretty strong. And so maybe there's just a few, things that he needs to see to kind of finalize that deal.
Now, this is also a non-exclusive tag, so basically meaning that other teams can negotiate a contract out here for Jaylen Johnson. And if Jaylen is to accept in the Bears have first right to match any offer. If the Bears don't match any offer, the Bears could get 2 first-round picks back in compensation for Jaylen Johnson. So maybe doing a little bit of work there, maybe working things out, a little bit of wiggle room on both sides there to say, hey, listen, if we don't get this guy, we're able to get some draft compensation back. If we do end up holding on to Jaylen, we get a pretty good player out of it at a number that maybe he feels more comfortable at. And maybe sometimes this type of tag is placed on guys because the sides are just a few million apart. And you got to figure out, okay, listen, you go out there and see if you're worth it. If some team is willing to pay you that, we'll match it, right? Like it's not a surprise to hear that kind of scenario either way.
That could be the conversation because, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if he wants to reset the market at the cornerback position, you're talking about, maybe 22, 23 million per. So if another team comes calling and saying, we want your services, JJ, we think you're worth this much. And Ryan Poles says, oh, okay, well, other teams obviously see you that way, so we'll match. I just wanted to, get a good idea for what other people think as well. So, yeah, that could be one of his master plans. And, of course, what you're mentioning that it's a non-exclusive tag, getting 2 first-round picks back, that's crazy. So Ryan Poles has a plan A and a plan B. He might even have a plan C. Like, the man has all types of plans up his sleeve.
Plan C is Tyreek Stevenson's going to end up playing quarterback.
No, that's Joel's plan. We're not talking about Joel's plan.
We end up welcoming C-Dub into the conversation. Dub, what's going on, man? What are your thoughts on the Jaylen Johnson franchise tag? Do you like the move, or are you upset that they didn't get a long-term deal done sooner?
I mean, Post was already setting the scene that this was going to happen. I mean, he was making sure that he told everybody that, hey, talks are going well. We're having a good back and forth. So if anything, if all else fails, like you mentioned, if, maybe this deal doesn't get done, then, hey, it's not my fault. I did my part. We've been talking. We've been communicating. I thought things were going well. I didn't know that they wanted more money. Yeah. And so Poles has made sure he set himself up in a good position. And then, obviously this takes a nice little hit, $20 million against the cap, 19 to 20 million against the cap. So, we still got a lot of options. I don't know if we'll be able to sign like big names, like a Chris Jones or something like that. But, still, honestly, I think it was necessary. You had to do it. You had to get him on. And at the end of the day, if you just let him slip through the cracks, somebody else get him and you lose him for nothing, that wouldn't make any sense. So, yeah, they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, and I think the part that's interesting is, right, I think you're right. Like when you talked about what the Bears felt that they offered for or at least what they're coming to the table with, right? Remember Ryan Poles at the Combine said we're coming with strong offers as far as money, strong offers we're coming strong as far as guarantees, coming strong as far as the amount of years, right? Like we feel like we're throwing our best offer on the table, and that kind of put the onus back in the Jaylen Johnson court. Listen, that we're going to pay you, we're willing to pay you, but you've got to play ball with us a little bit here. And I'll be honest with you, I love the fact that Jaylen Johnson maybe is saying, let's take this to the streets. Let's take this to these other teams. Because realistically speaking, right, you undervalued me twice. And what's interesting about this scenario is, right, the first time that you undervalued me, I pay no attention to the baby trying to do a somersault in the background. I don't know what she's doing.
Hey, get ready for the Olympics, man.
Don't fall, kid. It's a concrete floor down here. You learn that lesson once. But the thing that I think is interesting is, right, like you go out right at the trade deadline. He goes out to the teams. He says, listen, this is what I think I'm worth. This is what I'm coming in negotiating. Would you trade for me? They asking a first round pick or a late first, early second round pick, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we're not willing to give that up for you. We don't believe that you're worth that level of compensation just yet. At that point, Jaylen's probably a top 15, top 20 cornerback in the NFL, right? But he's not top 5. Now you get to the end of the season, there's no trade capital involved, although a little bit now, right, with the whole non-guaranteed franchise and all that. But like now you're not worried about it as much. More teams are more willing to pay for or trade for a top 5 corner in the league. At a minimum, I think Jaylen Johnson has proven that he is that now. And you're also willing to pay the money on top of the draft capital for something like that. So I think that would be, I think that Jaylen Johnson is putting himself in a scenario where some team's going to look at him and be like, yeah, we'll do that. The money that you want, $20 million a year for 4 years, right? Or 22 million a year for 4 years, 24, whatever it is. And I think he comes back to Ryan Poles and says, they're willing to pay me this. Are you willing to give me this?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's on Ryan. It's putting the onus back in Ryan Poles' court. But Ryan Poles, when he said we're coming strong, we've got strong guarantees, we've got strong money on the table, and it's up to them whether they want to do it or not. You got to put yourself in the best situation for the long term there, because there's also a team that may be desperate for Jaylen Johnson service out there. And you don't want him to come back and be like, they say they're going to pay me $27 million a year. And you out of luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
by the way, real quick, over 100 in the chat real quick.
It's funny. I remember us debating whether or not he was worth $15 million, like 4 or 5 months ago. And now it's like, okay.
Well, he didn't have no picks. I wasn't signing them.
Yeah. And it's crazy because he probably wanted 20 back then. But now with the salary cap going up, he's looking like, hey, man, 20 ain't enough.
Yeah.
20 ain't enough. You know what? I thought that this would be a smooth transition because when we released Eddie Jackson and Cody White here, I'm assuming that I thought that money would just kind of be transitioned over to Jaylen and he would get the bulk of whatever that was, since we were talking about how cash strapped we were going into the offseason. And so with all that money getting back into the fold, I'm thinking, okay, well, they'll give him the 21, I think it was, that got
Yeah.
released. So
Or Whitehair and Jackson.
yeah. So but maybe again, Jaylen is betting on himself, and I think that maybe that's a good move. I think both Ryan Post and Jaylen are looking out for their own interests. Obviously Ryan has to make sure that it's a fair contract, but it's also within the realm of what else do we need to address for the team. And then Jalen's obviously saying, well, pay me what I'm worth.
Yeah.
I already showed you what I'm worth. But then again, maybe I need to prove myself again this year before you really, double down on what you're going to pay me. So,
and see, I don't even think that that's the case for me, right? I think you saw what the impact was, right? You saw I don't even know. I'll say this. I don't even know if that's the case for Ryan Poles. I think Ryan Poles is willing to pay him. You know what I mean? Like clearly he's offered him a couple of contracts here. He's willing to pay him. It's about Jaylen feeling that his worth has gone further and further and further up, which is fine. I believe that it has, right? C-Dub talked about, how I wasn't willing to pay him 15 million, or I wasn't willing to pay him 20 million to start the season. I was scared on 15 million. I was like, that's, I mean, like, because here's the thing. What do you pay DBs to do? Take the football away. I need interceptions. I need pick sixes. I need, right? Like at a minimum, I need those interceptions. You did have the shutdown capability. You definitely, the PBU numbers, the coverage numbers, all of the numbers that we love to see. You had all of those except for INTs, right? Before the start of this season, which one was your favorite? Now you've got a plethora of picks to look at, right? Like now you got, okay, this guy's actually making an impact, breaking on the ball well, breaking on the ball a lot more confident, gambling more now that there's a pass rush in front of him. And I think that Ryan Poles is willing to pay him that money. I think that Ryan Poles is kind of just setting himself up to where he goes, okay, listen, we want you to be here. We want you to be a Bear, but we want you to be a Bear at this number. And Jalen's like, nah, the price went up, dog. Like that number was great. When
today's price wasn't today's price.
Hey, yesterday's price wasn't today's price. That price was great when I was when I was sitting on one interception. Now I got
right.
And I need a little bit more out of you. And I'm not mad at Jaylen for that either. I think that both sides are playing the business side of this really well. And I love the fact that we got the franchise tag done on this, because to me, you want more time on this. Right. You don't want to rush into this. You don't want to make a rash decision and then feelings get hurt, egos get hurt, all of that stuff. Right. Here's the question, though. Will this tag lead to a long-term deal, or will he play this season on the tag?
Well, I mean, they have, from what I read, they have until July 15th to negotiate the deal. So, I mean, you got some time.
Yeah.
You have some time. So hopefully with discussions being as strong as they say they were from a few weeks ago or a week ago, then I'm assuming my chips are in the fact that they'll get it done. If both sides aren't dealing with like some petty numbers or something, but I think they'll get it done before that time, and that's plenty of time to negotiate.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's inevitable. They just needed more time. But they need to get this done. Honestly, they can't play around with it. The salary cap going up. Jaylen Johnson is noticing that. And it's not like he's a quarterback where they're going to get $40 million a year. He's only going to get might be his last good contract or last big contract, barring injury, if he doesn't get injured. So he's like, all right, I need my money. I need my future secured. And you can't blame them for that, but I think they'll get it done. Ryan Poles is committed to getting that done, and so we'll see. Maybe 4 years or something like that, maybe 24 million, maybe. It's a number I'm just thinking of top of the head.
Yeah.
But you got to pay. You got to pay for a player who's been recorded as giving the least amount of yards in the entire NFL, 196 yards this past season. So you got to lock them in.
It's so funny, like when you think about it, like they're probably off by like a couple million here. Like realistic, like if I'm willing to franchise tag you for the 19 million, more than likely Ryan Poles knows he's got to go over that. So you would think he's at like 20, 21, and Jalen's at probably like 23, 24 million.
Yep.
Right, like you're off by a couple of million, and so it's kind of going to come down to how much do you value Jaylen Johnson actually being a part of this team moving forward, and how much do you value what it may mean to a locker room if you do move on from them. I think that's the one thing that you got to also weigh in as well. Like, yeah, if somebody comes in and offers a crazy number, somebody's like $28 million for a cornerback. Hey, Jaylen, go get your money, bro. I wouldn't even want you to play DB here. Like, if I'm being honest with you. But like, if you're talking about giving him a $3 million bump over over Jair Alexander. Yeah, I mean, like, all right, cool. We roll it, right? Like, but like Michael says, if somebody's giving them 26, 27 million, hey, brother, appreciate you playing the little version of our game. Yeah, I mean,
just
like
a little bit outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'd shake your hand. I'd be like, hey, man, you said just a little bit high.
Like, no.
One of the other names that popped up today is as we talk about, this DB market, we do have to replace one name that was on the market in Eddie Jackson. And now you're sitting here talking about a couple of guys that might be a interesting fit for the Chicago Bears with some of this shmoney that they got available. Some of that shmoney, baby. Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams both released today by the Seattle Seahawks. They basically were like, hey, Jamal, you making $16 million this year? Not today. Would you be interested in either of them filling in that Eddie Jackson spot? And what do you think it's going to cost to get him in here?
I'll put it like this. I have been a fan of Jamal Adams since college. I believe LSU, if I'm not correct. If Jamal Adams was the Jamal Adams 4 years ago, I'd say give it to me right now. Like yes. Like why would you cut him? But obviously there's a reason why the Seahawks cut him. He's been dealing with injury the last couple of years. He's getting a little bit older, even though I believe he's only 27 or 28.
Yeah, not old at all. Definitely dealing with injuries, but not old.
Yeah, he's not old, but I mean, he has been dealing with some injuries that could kind of set him back athletically. So, and it's crazy. You don't even really hear his name as much in the upper echelon of safeties as much as you used to. At least I haven't heard him. Then you got Quandre Diggs, who I believe has had 15 interceptions in the last 3 seasons. I could be wrong with the seasons, but I know I heard 15. So, I mean, that's big. So you have a couple of options that, for whatever reason, Seahawks cut. Maybe they want to go young. Maybe they're rebuilding over there for, I don't know why. But, they look like good options. I'm just worried about the injury history.
He's got 24 picks.
24?
He's got 24 picks over the span of his career, bro. That's a lot of interceptions. Okay, I know I heard safety, 15
over 3, I think. Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot of interceptions for a safety. Like that's kind of crazy there when you see numbers like that. Let's see. Over his last, 5-10. He's got 15 over his last 4 seasons.
4 seasons. Okay. I know I had heard 15 somewhere. Okay.
It's a lot of picks, bro. That is playing safety.
Yes. I mean, you're talking about, and I'm sure he can fill in from Eddie. Quandre seems to me like maybe a bigger safety, but I mean, I'm sure he can fill in that free safety spot because, you talk about takeaways. Then, of course, they also got to a smaller degree, Seahawks also cut Will Dissly. You know how Shane Waldron likes his double tight end sets, and that's probably a name he's familiar with. But yeah, all 3 names are pretty good options.
Interesting.
I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. The Quandre Diggs one is the super producer Joel Holt comes here.
Hey.
Looking to
hello, boys.
Hey, what a White Sox hat from 1982 out here, boy. That's
like
that. I like that. I like that.
I think I was looking at that when we was over his house. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Like, what were you doing? I was watching that hat when I was at his house. I saw that. That was a nice hat. I think the Quandre Diggs one is extremely interesting to me because more of when you get one of those guys who can be the ball hawk guy, who can be the interception guy next to Jaquan Brisker. I mean, listen, he's 31 years old, but that's not bad. Yeah, I mean, like that's not a bad side. Look, you get him in here, maybe $8-9 million a year.
Jamal Adams, because I was like,
Quandre Stevenson or Quandre Diggs. I'm putting too many Stevensons.
Tyreek. Hey man,
He
leave
got
Tyreek out of
hey,
it.
Tell me that don't sound like a player though. Tell
It
me that
do.
don't sound like some Quandre Stevenson from
Juan
Texas
Stevenson.
Tech. He was a
Tyreek,
dog.
see, combine Tyreek with one, and now we got a quarterback / free safety. See how it works?
Yeah.
No, Quandre Diggs though. I mean,
I saw y'all in the chat. Yeah, I want running backs. Yeah, draft running backs. I want all of them.
All right, come on now.
he won first round backs. He won
That run 5
second round backs.
I want the
4-7-1.
4-7-1 running back in the first round.
Yeah. Please, no.
No, I think that, you know, now all of a sudden you talked about what you were going to try to address in the draft, but I think there's some good names out there that you still can get some good years out of available on the free agency list here.
Yeah, Baki even mentions Xavier McKinney. We've talked about him too. I like his production. He mentions he's only 24 years old, 78 tackles, 3 passes, takeaways, and 1 forced fumble in all 17 games started. So, I mean, that's a good name to think about. I was thinking about the name that I know Joe had mentioned plenty of times. Unfortunately, he got taken off because he got tagged. His safety out of Tampa Bay, Antoine Winfield. He got tagged. Yeah, he's no longer an option, man. So.
Well,
gotta move on.
It would be a mistake to let him go. So I'm like, you talking about
what,
pro?
What are they paying for down there? Like, they don't even know if they want Baker. Like, what? They're just paying people to stick around. They got Mike Evans for 2 years.
Because I was talking to Pat earlier. I'm like, if Jamal Adams was there, I'm like, that's like Mike Brown Jr. to me. I would love to get him, but I don't know where is he at in his career though. Is he still right? I mean,
he's 28. I think we just meant, yeah, he's still he's actually a decent age. It's just the fact that last couple of years hasn't been kind to him on his, you know, he's just injury prone now, man. You know, that type of play, you know, he's always been a brawler type of safety.
He's a hitter.
Reputation.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you get more years in the league, your body starts going against you.
True.
No, for sure. That's the biggest concern with Jamal Adams. It's not talent. It's just him staying on the field.
Injury,
like it's so random. Like, remember him with the Jets, bro? Like, you almost forget. Like, he went over to the Seahawks and just kind of died.
Yeah.
No, he got in. He got injured at the end of the Jets, and I think he came back from injury, and I think then he went over to the Seahawks. So he probably never was really the guy, even when he got the Seahawks. Because we were looking at the contract, he's supposed to get paid now. Like I think it was $16 million and then $17 next year. They only had to pay him. They paid him $21 guaranteed, and then he had like $1 million, $2 million, and I think last year made $1,080,000. So it was like bogus. They got a $20 million cap hit on Jamal Adams. So they were just being basically savage and cut that dude.
Good name, Bill. Good name.
That?
No. Good name. He said
Bob
Sanders was
a beast, but couldn't stay healthy.
Which is why why we got Brisker. I was like, we haven't had a safety since Mike Brown of that caliber, which is why I like Brisker. But to get 2 safeties on this defense, like this defense could be very scary, even with this offseason and what they do in the draft.
Oh yeah, we got to see what they're gonna end up doing, man. They got some names that they could pay out here, and I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
How much money they gonna have though? So if they had 78 right before they did the tag on Jaylen.
You had about 80 million, 82 million, I think. 82. So you've tagged Jaylen. So you're back at about 60.
Then you gotta have money for the rookies. So you know that's what 10 million, 10 to 13.
You can only afford like 2 top tier free agents.
Yeah. You're not going out there and buying everybody. I think you get 1 top tier guy and you fill out the roster with some guys as well. You also have to take into account that you added in now I can't think of the boy name that we got to talk about on this month. Ryan Bates. Yeah.
Right. Ryan Bates is about
you added in Ryan Bates as well to the to the team. He's about 5.4 million over the next couple of years. So we got to talk about the Ryan Bates trade. Now, the Bears just trading guys to trade guys, or is this a move that we actually want to see the Bears, a player we want to see the Bears send out there and actually, okay, let's see how you're going to start on this offensive line. We'll talk about that on the other side with the Ryan Bates trade. We'll be right back after a message from Aura. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https:/aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold. Hey man, shout out to the Breeze chat. Shout out to y'all pulling up in the building. Berlissimo said, oh shoot, here comes the Aura ad music. I'd better turn it down or the missus will be chasing me for some sugar.
Hey, get it how you get it, my brother.
We gotta
Shout out to
that,
y'all
bro.
for tuning in and showing love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We've been talking about the Eddie Jackson deal, or I'm sorry, the Jaylen Johnson deal, and the franchise tag that was ended up getting placed on him. And we also have been kind of looking at this Ryan Bates thing a little bit. Got to break that down as well. I mean, like, it's a did we just make a fifth round trade for a swing
starter.
Guard?
I would think it's a starter.
It should be.
It should be.
Who's he starting over?
Well, he definitely can start
He's
at
a
center because he's had experience at center. And Feeney, Lucas Patrick, and obviously Cody Whitehair's gone. Those three have been failed. So whether it be injury or just not knowing how to snap the ball. So we finally got somebody that actually knows how to actually snap the ball. I looked up his stats. He in 14, I think over 1,400 career snaps, he's only had 5 or 6 penalties against him and 1 sack allowed. So I mean, if that ain't consistency and stability, I don't know what is. So he might be a depth signing, but at the end of the day, if we don't double down and get a center like in the draft, with the names we talked about, Powers Johnson, Zach Frazier, Van Pran, then this is somebody who can plug in, whether it be over Nate Davis, unless he improves better than last year. We know what he went through. Or if Tevin Jenkins goes down with his random quad injuries that he always gets, this is a good depth signing.
Or he is a starting center. Or he's a starting center because we gave up draft capital now. And to me, if they take Caleb Williams, does that mean that they're going for Jackson Powers? Because otherwise he would be a bridge center, right? Because no one wants to start a rookie center. Or we have a new center. If they take Caleb number 1, that means with the 9th pick, they got to get a quality starter out of 9, and then they're going to sign some free agents. So like they might be going like, we're going to try to win now and compete now with a rookie quarterback. And it's like, otherwise, I don't see why they would give up the 5th round. That's great. When do you get a starting caliber player in the 5th round in the draft? Those are always projects.
Here's the tough part for me with Ryan Bates coming over here, right? And I love the fact that you traded for him, especially since he's somebody that the Bears looked at before. I mean, he was a full-time starter for the Bills in 2022. But here's the thing, right? He's coming over on the Lucas Patrick scenario here. He played 810 snaps that season at guard. He played 135 at center. He's not a center, guys. He's a guard that can move over.
He's a right guard.
He's a swing line.
Yeah, I mean, like he's not a center. So, like, to say we gave up the capital for somebody to come in, I think if we're honestly talking about this, you probably gave up the capital because you knew what he was. You probably gave up the capital because you know that Simo likes him, our offensive line coach. You know that he likes him. You know that he knows how he would want to utilize him here. That to me is the only reason that we end up giving up this capital for this guy and going out and getting him on a nice deal, because I think he is just a depth piece. But here's the thing. He's a depth piece for an offensive line that lost both tackles at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that he is a starting, not to say he can't be a starting anything, but I mean, we lost Tevin Jenkins for 4 games. You also ended up losing Nate Davis for about 4 or 5 games in there as well. Like, you're going to see a lot of this guy if things continue the way that they did this season. But like, Brian Bates is like, for him to come over here and be the center, I'm so sick of this experiment that we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, I'm so sick of it. Like, he's a guard, but like, can he snap it? Like, no, that's not the same position.
It's not that. It's just when off the top, they're like, this is, Bates. He played center and guard, and Ryan Poles wanted to, sign him to an offer sheet 2 years ago. I mean, it makes sense if you're giving up a 5th round pick to get a quality depth, player. And we said this before, right? We still have to get depth. If you're going to gamble on a 5th round pick for that, you got at least some depth, because it's hard to find project. There are typically projects in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fine. But then again, he's kind of missed on some of his free agent.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. The offensive line scares me.
Hey, watch your baby, man. She's about to jump off she's about to just dive right off the couch.
She's about to fly.
She's about to do some WWE, man.
Off the top rope.
On the roof. No, I actually think
she just needed to clean her hands, boys. She just needed to clean her hands.
Okay.
I didn't even know that he played a lot of snaps at tackles too, man, left and right tackle. So this dude, he could play all 5 positions. And you think about the fact that Tevin Jenkins and Nate Davis can't stay healthy that often. You kind of need that assurance, to have somebody come in just in case.
Yeah, I mean, like, I like the fact that he can play all across the interior. It's not to say that he can't play center. I know he spent time there a little bit, but even last season, right? Like, he was the depth piece. He was good to go for all 15 games, but he's the backup guy. He's the guy that we don't want to see out there all the time. And so I'm fine with him being a depth piece. Maybe there's more. When he was a starter, he was pretty good out there, and that excites me. But I think you're setting yourself up for, okay, what happens? I have a rookie quarterback, and I think this is the part that a lot of people kind of have to look. You have a rookie quarterback. You have to make sure that he's protected at a better level at all times. I don't want to see Ja'Tyre Carter. I just don't. Like, I like Ja'Tyre Carter as like we got to slide somebody in for a couple of plays. I don't want to see Ja'Tyre Carter for a full game.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't want to see, and to me, Ryan Bates is better than anything you were going to get in the draft. So I'm okay with giving up the capital for Bates, but it's just like, I feel like people are expecting him to come in and be this starting god, or he's going to learn. I remember how we all were when Lucas Patrick came over, and it's like, we saw how that experiment played out. By the way, over 200 in the chat real quick. There,
200. Let's go. Appreciate it.
I don't know. I felt like I actually felt there was more promise with Lucas Patrick. It was like, okay, his familiarity with the system when he came over here, and it's been more of a disappointment. I think the point is that what we're doing, we're trying to hit on as many picks, as many free agent signings as we can get on this team to contribute immediately versus projects. So if it means flipping a late round pick from a project to someone that is a contributor, then it's a win. So I will hopefully we still haven't actually still addressed our line yet. I mean, we have some depth, but we haven't got our starting center yet. So I'm very curious to see what they do come next week with free agency.
I think that's all going to end up being done in the draft. I think that if you're going, and it's not the route I want to see them go, I guess, because now, right, we also have to talk about the draft capital that the Bears have. But if you're going with Caleb Williams as your quarterback, you're missing out on a lot of capital. Listen, the trade package at this point for Fields, maybe at best, is just the 2.
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
mean,
second.
that's why are we being greedy? We get a second round pick.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Like, you're not filling out your draft capital. You're not getting everything
You never were
from the Justin Fields trade. And so I think that you also have to look at the scenario that you're in and say maybe you're adding one more pick if you end up moving on from Justin Fields, and hopefully it's a second round pick. It may end up being later than that with kind of how the trade compensation and stuff seems to be working out and how teams have kind of gotten out of the entire race with everything. But I think the part that I focus in on is, okay, which pick is he going to turn into more picks now? Because we know Ryan Poles is going to add some more picks here. Is that going to be 9?
But wait a minute, who's to say that this guy isn't the center? He traded a 5th round pick to get a starting quality lineman, and because if you keep Caleb, just like you said, it would make more sense to trade back. It actually makes more sense to keep Fields, trade back a couple times to get a couple starters this year, and you could win with him. Now, if you believe in Caleb Williams, well, to me that means you're just going all in. You think that you're 4 pieces away. And so we need a center, defensive end, a safety, and a receiver. So yeah, and maybe another left tackle. You're going to probably live with Braxton Jones, but you're banking on your defense being the dominant. They're going to win the games for us. The defense is going to be lights out, and the offense just needs to do enough not to lose games. And maybe that's the mentality they're going into right now, because that could happen. You know, the issue is that the Bears have been up. And it's just the defense has given away leads. There's been times where you may have needed Justin Fields to win games, but how many times were we up and then we let teams come back into the games? So that might be the mentality moving forward.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that here's the thing. I don't mind the trade. I actually like the trade, even from a depth piece. Yeah. Right, like even if he's just a guy, because I watched my starting tackles miss the combined 8 games, I want to say. Something
and
like
we were
that.
struggling in that first 4 or 5 weeks. We were struggling with Braxton.
Might even be more than
Tevin.
That here.
Wasn't it 4 or 6 games?
Well, because I know Nate Davis missed some early on, so I'm trying to remember.
Right. He missed like 4 or 5.
Nate Davis missed 6 games this season. And
Braxton
then
got hurt later and then missed the middle of the season.
Braxton did get hurt a few,
And then we lost Tevin at the beginning.
Tevin only played like 11 games.
He had 2 calf injuries, right? Both his calves.
Well, he got hurt early and then ended up getting hurt a little bit later in the season as well. Yeah, Tevin played 12 games this season, started in 11 of them. So yeah, man, like you need some depth. Like, this is not a move to just go get a guy that he's just a body out there. Like, I do think he's an upper echelon interior O lineman. I do think he would be a average starter, but when you talk about him being a backup that steps in, he's an above average backup, right? Yeah, I mean, like that kind of situation.
I think they're gonna
but
flip.
Having that with 6 with guys missing 6, a combined 12 games realistically, right? Like, that means he's going to see a lot of time on the field. Probably he's going to be a name that we talk about. He's not going to be a Dan Feeney where it's like, hey man, there's a mullet back there somewhere.
I think they packaged that second round pick from 2025. I think they're going to take that 9th pick and move down a little bit and gain some. Like, they're going to.
I think they should.
They're going to get. I think they end up with a second round pick and still get something in the first, because they can get at least 3 starters in this draft. You got the quarterback. I feel like in terms of need, it would probably be defensive end, because if you don't spend, if we'll see what they do on Monday or Tuesday. If they don't necessarily put an offer in for, we lost Burns, he got tagged, and that means you got Danielle Hunter.
I was like, let Brian get on the market, baby. I need
him. But Chase Young for $10 million on a prove it deal doesn't kill you, and you got 8 sacks out of a guy. You know,
they tagged Brian Burns again, didn't they? How much money is he getting?
I thought it was 24
mil.
Just pay the man. Just get
So
you paid him for 2 years, and he'd be halfway through his contract right now.
They don't have to necessarily go crazy on the receiver, but I think if they target a defensive end, they can maybe go for. I feel like they want to make sure that defense is ready to roll, like because that defense is practically almost all the way built, and you got to, I would like to see the offensive line fixed to the point that it's pretty much solid. I would like to see that happen in this draft.
Bears now sit with the first overall pick, the 9th overall pick 75 in the 3rd round, pick 111 in the 4th, and pick 123 in the 4th. And they do not have a pick outside of that after trading away their 5th round picks. So I'm going to be very, very intrigued to see if Ryan Poles looks to add some draft capital, what he's going to try to add here.
Shout out to Baki. Yeah, Christian Wilkins too.
Oh yeah,
they might put some
dogs
money
out there, bro.
Put some money on the defensive line, and then you could draft for the offense because the defense is practically set.
Yeah, I think you have to do it that way, right? Like there's a difference. Like the trenches are the trenches, but like there's a difference in defensive line and offensive line. Like a good defensive lineman coming on the market happens every year. A good offensive lineman coming on the market, the first question you go is like, what's he doing on the market?
Is he hurt? Yeah.
Why is he out there? What did he do? He kill somebody? He punch somebody? What's going on here? Like
some of them can come up and rise to the ranks, but like when you think about the effects of what old boy did in Kansas City, who's the top guy in Kansas City?
Chris Jones.
Affecting the D line, creating that type of pressure. I would be okay if either way they spend some money on that defensive line and not going through the draft. I just feel like sometimes rookie defensive ends lower in the draft. It's one thing when you're like the top of the draft and it's a Garrett, it's Julius Peppers, even Von Miller, who is second. Like to me, if we're talking in that top 5, I would see going after a defensive end. Once you start getting in the middle, like I want more impact with that 9th pick. If it means Roma Dunze, or that means a starting left tackle with Fashanu or whoever falls, that makes more sense to me. And because when you pay for that defensive end, he's going to perform. Even with the receivers, I mean, I feel like you're going to get production out of Calvin Ridley. You're going to get production out of any of those other guys because you're going to pay for somebody, But the defense is almost there, and you can basically pay and draft the offense and build around Caleb.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there too, man. Like honestly, even if we trade back to like Minnesota at 11, or if we trade back to Denver at 12,
why are you so aggressive? They get no tackle at the top of the draft.
But no, even if we trade back to 11 or 12, there's still a lot of options that I'll be excited if we take. Oh, look at her. I mean, it's still a lot of options. Hey, I thought she was. I don't know why I thought that was a doll, bro.
No, you know what,
baby.
I think that with the 5 picks that Ryan Poles has in the draft right now, I think, and that's what made me think, is he still playing everybody with this whole case?
Oh, see,
because going from letting go of that fifth round pick for Bates and then only having 5, we know Ryan Poles' track record is to try and build the team through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
To only have 5, that's borderline like questionable. I think he's going to move some picks, man. I think he's going to move some picks.
Well, listen. Let's
second round for next year. They can flip too.
Well, listen. Let's take a quick break here. Do this ad read real quick, and then we will get into what Ryan Poles could be doing because Jordan JC saying, hey, listen, is the Hall still alive, boys? That's really the question. Is the Hall still alive? But first, hold on. Let me get the baby out of here before I do the gambling ad read. Hold on. First, we got to tell you guys all about FanDuel. I'm sorry. Oh, no, wrong one. First, we got to tell you guys all about Underdog Fantasy. I do too many of these. Underdog Fantasy, I want to tell you guys about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action. It's Underdog Fantasy, and their pick'em game. Just pick higher or lower on your favorite or least favorite player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. There's no more stressing on league management aspects of your draft. There is no more worrying about going through dealing with fantasy managers, dealing with the heads of the leagues. All you got to do is go over to Underdog and make your life easy. They keep it super simple with easy to use website and mobile apps. You pick between 2 and 5 players to fill out your pick'em entry and get every pick right and take home some cold, hard cash. All you got to do is use the promo code TWCB. That is the promo code TWCB, and you can take home some cold hard cash with Underdog Fantasy. If you get it right, my favorite part about Underdog Fantasy is the insurance policy that is in place. Because listen, maybe you're not so sure about one of those picks. Maybe you're not so sure that Kobe White isn't going to go over 27.5 points versus the Denver, no, who we play last night? Who did we just, the Sacramento Kings there. Maybe you're not so sure about that one. A little shaky on that one, a little shaky. But you put the insurance on there and you work through all of your picks. You finally get everything selected and you can still win some cold, hard cash at a little bit less of a price. So make sure to tune in with Underdog Fantasy today and get signed up now. Promo code TWCB. All right, boys, let's get back into the show. Sorry, I forgot you guys were there. Oh, sorry. The Breezettes are back, guys. But Pat the designer and the Breezettes.
These
Breezettes.
Hey, is that I'm looking at this comment by what's that, Faye Baby? Like, that's something to think about. Is Justin Fields working out in Bears clothes, meaning that, you know, he's still at the Bears facility. He's still part of the team. He's not going anywhere. This is all smokescreen, and it's all possible that the Hall is still coming.
The Hall is alive.
The Hall
is and that's the question, dog. Is the Hall
You know that would make
alive?
me happy. You know that make me
Is
happy.
the Hall
Calvin,
alive,
I want to get a
bro?
24-hour live stream on Calvin when we say Justin Fields is the quarterback going forward.
With 5 picks in the draft, very much like you said, this is very Ryan Poles-esque. He's usually somebody who wants a ton of draft capital. Bears sitting at 1, Bears sitting at 9, 75, 111, and 123. Is the Hall alive? And if the Hall isn't alive, how do you turn those picks into more draft capital this season? Or do you think maybe like the flip side of this is he really does believe Caleb is good enough to just make the guys around him better?
Maybe either he's very special or you're trading twice. You go to 2, and then from 2 you drop down to get more picks. Like, that makes more sense to me.
Hey, I was watching this video on Kurt Warner. He was breaking down Caleb Williams' tape, man. And, you know, I did my homework because I know yesterday we was like, I didn't watch any Caleb Williams video. You true on that. But I did watch some tape on Kurt Warner breaking them down. And honestly, he doesn't know if the stuff that he does translates to the next level. Sure, it's a lot of off-platform things and stuff like that, but he's not really seeing anything true from the pocket that really will signify, oh, yeah, this guy is elite special from the pocket to make him this next generational star.
Right.
It's a possibility that, you know, he's not that much better. If not, he might not even be better than Fields.
Here's my thing. With the Bears being truly in a position where they're going from, I wouldn't say rebuild, but retool to really being a competitive team. Like Joe mentioned earlier, we really almost got the defense set. We need a few more pieces. Offense needs some work, obviously, a wide receiver in the line. And then this question at quarterback, whether or not we go with Justin or Caleb or whoever else. But with only 5 picks, I'm thinking that Ryan Poles is not just going to put all of his chips in this offseason. I would think that he's also going to look to the future as well to try and fleece somebody else in trading that first pick, getting as much of a future pick, future first-round picks or second-round picks for the 25 or 26 draft. Like, that's the way that I see Ryan Poles thinking. He's done that in the past. I don't think that he's just going to bet it all on this year or this offseason.
But what if he's selling? What if Poles is selling the fact that they really like Caleb? Like, we want him here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they didn't really actually do that because he left Yeah.
Or it's like,
Hey,
well, just wait till
if you do this, man,
what if it's like he's making it? Because the whole media now is the Bears are taking Caleb. The Bears are taking Caleb. The Bears are taking Caleb. Like everybody's saying this.
And today's
And
Justin's birthday. They were like, oh, we needed to make sure that he was traded today because it was his birthday. That was
I think here's the part that's tough about all of it. If he doesn't take Caleb, and I would be fine with him doing whatever he deems necessary, this would be the biggest pump fake in NFL history. This would be a Javon Carter level pump. This would be a Javon Carter.
Now. We mentioned Bulls.
Ball hits his hand.
Run the credits.
I mean, like, hey, it's we cool, all in. Hey, and it's exactly like just like that. Like, you know, he came in talking about, hey, I'm shooting these shots. When the ball hit my hand, I'm shooting. So not only did you pump fake us on that, but you're pump faking every single time the ball actually hits your hands in the game just to pass it out the shot. So I like this was this,
bro. If he does this, I'm getting a custom made Ryan Poles jersey, bro. I'm telling
that's elite.
you.
Hey,
what if he goes?
That's elite level D riding, bro. You can't do that, bro. That is you are.
Hey, listen,
you are on a bouquet at that point, bro. Like that
listen, because everybody is believing that we're taking Caleb Williams, and rightfully so. I've actually gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. We're taking Caleb, and I think he's a good quarterback. So hey, it's cool. It's not a bad problem that we're taking Caleb. But if everybody's believing that we're taking Caleb, that means we're driving up the value of this #1 pick. And so if you really want this pick, hey, Washington, if you really want Caleb Williams, I'm gonna need everything. I'm gonna need all of it.
It may not be Washington. The point is that the whole point is you need to bankrupt somebody else. Yeah, there you go. You gotta mastermind. If he does that, because the whole point is he wants more than what he got last time. That's the whole point. What does he need? So the whole point is what? You're trying to get it.
It's a great question, Trevanika. What number does Poles get?
100.
100.
100.
It's a 100 jersey.
100.
It's so weird.
Hey, I was gonna say 69 because he's flipping the game over.
Oh,
I need the credits. God dang it, where are my credits at?
Oh my God!
I think I have the credits. There's somewhere.
You're just gonna add the credits in. You can't.
I'm just gonna. I can add the credits.
But no, man. Like if we being 100% honest, like the elite level of pump
I threw my flag.
that it would have to be for him to pull off something like that. Like. You have the entire league believing that you're taking Caleb Williams. Like I don't see, not to say I can't see it happening, but like what movie are we watching right now? What is this, Draft Day? Is that what this is? Like this is the draft day, you dig? Right? Like he who's he calling up? Who's he calling up for his picks back? Is he calling up the Steelers? It's like, I want my picks back. You can't keep another. You know what I mean? Like
I learned from my mistakes. I want my picks back.
And I want David Putney just because I feel like it. What? Like I don't know, man. Like I would be thoroughly surprised that King Booker Worldwide. He said 68 because he only get his.
hey, Suki knows best. Yeah, Justin Fields' story. That'd be crazy, man. Like, and then if Fields turns out to be what we all hope he end up being, and he's wearing #1 for Chicago, let's go.
Here's what's tough about again. I love Draft Day. It's a really good movie. It did not work. like that's based off a real scenario. It did not work. They did all that fleecing, and everyone's fired. So like, keep that in mind. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. Like I'm fine with Fields being here. I'm fine with all of that. But like, remember, Draft Day failed. But no, I the one thing that I do think that he tries to do is the trade back scenario. Probably, I would say that 9th overall pick. I think there's a lot of teams. I think there'll still be a lot of quarterbacks on the draft board.
Hold on a second, Pat. Hold on. Sorry. Anyway,
You got
the extended version.
you gotta throw the pictures. We gotta get a picture of the bulls and the bear head for the background in that mug.
I gotta put it because that's a overlay versus actual.
Oh, that's funny.
Online.
The credits have made it. The credits have made it. No, I do believe that there's I do believe that there is a scenario here where, you know, Ryan Post still continues to add some draft capital, still continues to add a first and possibly a second. And I think that scenario comes up via a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, yeah, I think they need a quarterback.
You're talking about like from 1 down to where Pittsburgh is?
No, I'm talking about from 9 to where Pittsburgh is, which is still 10 spots, but you're moving up to the 9th overall pick. Like, I think that's it. Like, I just don't believe they can keep riding this out with like the veteran, he's about to die guy, or the like, I just need somebody in there that's from the city so that we can make money. Like, I don't feel that like they're sold at the quarterback position right now. Maybe now the Justin Fields trade scenario with them seemed to be one that was interesting until we'd heard the conflicting report from Diana Rossini. So I don't know.
How do we know that's actually true? Like, all these jokers just talk. I mean, even your boy Greg Gabriel got up here and said, a lot of guys have been talking like that never happened. You know, it could all be a smokescreen. It could be that it is legit. Fields, go take a break. We can rock with you because we all believe that we can win with him.
Yeah.
And if you're continually building your team, I mean, that was my first premise in the beginning. He's good enough that you can win with him, and if you insulate him with everything else and continually build the squad. Now, if he ends up getting to a point where he's not the 3,500-yard passer like this year coming into this, because you can afford to pay him. You got to make a decision, right? If you're going to pay him to tag him the 5th-year option at $20 million, but that's not killing you, especially when the cap went up.
Yeah, so, agreed.
Yeah, I think that it would be crazy if he's able to do that, and he's able. That's what we all been saying. Like, I always felt like it was like we get more of the haul, get more picks, and you can keep playing this game practically for the next 3 years.
Yeah. Well, at a certain point, you got to pick somebody, and I think that this is probably your
start Bajan and build a super team.
I think that this is one of your. I think that this is one of your better scenarios here. And listen, maybe the two situations you have, right? Like, maybe he does nothing. Maybe he's like, listen, I got the haul, and now it's time to utilize the haul. And maybe he does have a belief that Caleb Williams is that good of a player. Right? Like there is something to be said, right? Like, if you add CJ Stroud to what you're building this year, you feel a lot more confident in Chicago, right? They weren't looking to add a quarterback last year. And so I think that they didn't go quarterback last year. Now this year they're looking more quarterback. If you find a guy that makes an impact that quickly, that was a 2-win team the year before. Yeah. That Houston team won 3 games.
3.
You know what I mean? Like, it was not a good football team. And now all of a sudden you throw the quarterback in there and things start looking in the right direction. So I just feel like, you know, there's a couple of options that the Bears have in front of them, and none of them seem to be closed off. And that's what excites me the most about this whole scenario. But let us know how you guys feel in the comments below. What do you say? I'm surprised Joe hasn't brought up Barkley. They'll bring it up when he isn't here to talk about running backs. Oh no, we all about to hop up off of here, but we are gonna have to have the old now that we know everybody who's not getting franchise tagged.
Yeah,
who do we want? Because they're out there. Oh, they're out there. But I did say this in Joe's defense. I'd pay him, you know, in like candy money, but Monopoly money if possible. But I would be fine with Saquon if you go Caleb, because you have a veteran guy back there that is a proven weapon.
I'd be fine with him if we address everything else first.
I mean,
it's about talent. It's not about a running
I'd be
base.
fine with not paying him at all. That'd be
great. What talent
Bring him
in each position? It's about talent. I'm looking at his talent level is a lot higher than most of the running backs. I'm not saying just pay running backs. King Henry. He's one dimensional. He's a human juggernaut, but all he does is run. Does he catch the ball? We're looking at someone that can just do multiple things. So
the
fact is that he's available. I'm like, we get an uber talented running back in the back with a better line. You still got to get a line.
I mean, he catches the ball in the backfield and then kills people as he runs them over towards the end zone. But hey, that's neither here nor there. But hey, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. For Jordan, JC, C-Dub, and the super producer, Joel Holt. It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down more running backs. Chicago. Peace.